And we're back, howdy y'all. This is Ethan Bonreal giving you that gay shit you love while playing some more Earthbound. So last time we were here, we left the sewers and made our way into the 6th dungeon of the game, the Pink Cloud. In addition to that, I talked a little bit about my past as a depressed gay boy and how I grew from that into an even gayer functional adult through the power of music. This time around, I kinda got struck by a topic pretty abruptly. I want to talk about what it takes to make a game gay, necessarily, and also some broader commentary on why gay media tends to be so polarizing in regards to its quality. And what I mean by that is why gay media tends to be either really bad or really good, and there's very little in between for it. Which is like a common complaint, honestly. People usually say, when they look through gay movies, that they're all either really depressing, they're really cheesy, or they have really bad actors, or like they just don't have a plot and it's just like a bunch of really hot guys running around. And honestly, that's valid. I actually agree with that for the most part, but I'm gonna try to talk a little bit about why that is. Like, why are these movies all so terrible? Why is it that like we have shows that are like really gay but like not necessarily explicitly so, and those tend to sometimes be a little bit better than like explicitly gay movies. But we'll get to that in just a bit. We have a boss here sitting at this door staring at us wanting to get murdered, so we're gonna talk to it. What's good? You finally got here. This is the 6th Your Sanctuary location, but it's mine now. Take it from me if you dare. I'm running out of voices for these bosses, so you're gonna have to just deal with that one. Anyway, so this is a real easy boss. It's gonna get its feelings hurt because we're just gonna do a lot of damage to it. So you don't really necessarily need a strategy for this if you come prepared. If you got a teddy bear, the Franklin badge, and some bottle rockets, you just really need to roll your face on your controller, and then it'll die eventually. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. So while I'm rolling my face on my keyboard, I guess I should ask, what's up with you nerds? I'm doing just dandy. I am still kind of sick. I am expecting my relatives to be here in about an hour and 20 minutes. But because they're black, they'll probably be 5,000 years late, and that's valid, honestly. Because I never show anywhere on time unless I can help it. Actually, that's not true. I actually value being punctual, but like if it's for stuff that is like not my job, I just don't do it. I just don't show up on time. In part because I just take forever to get ready and I just never pay attention to anything, but whatevs, you just gotta get into it. I also had someone ask me a question in the comments, and I'm going to try to talk about that a little bit and mix it with the topic that I have. Andrew wanted to talk about if day gating preferences and racism, and I know that's like a really, oh good lord, that's a really derisive topic, and I'm going to give my own unique spin on it. And I'm not going to really argue like for or against it, because everyone and their mom does that. I'm just going to really talk about why I believe it happens. And that's really the angle I'm going to go about it. And maybe I'll say one or two things, but we'll see how things go from here. In the meantime, we collected our 6th plot melody, so we're going to play our plot song and see what it sounds like. Let's do it. Ness smashed the soundstone to his forehead and some sound came out. Let's do it. Well, that was cute. So, as usual, we just need to... I don't know why I said as usual. I was trying to say, as usual, we need to get Ness so woke that he saves the day or something, but in reality, I got confused about what the fuck I was talking about, so y'all just gotta deal with it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm not your woke bay commentator who always remembers what he's talking about, but, you know, you just gotta deal, my friends. So we're gonna make our way out of this cave, but we're gonna kill a few enemies to get our friends leveled up a little bit before we roll out. And I guess this will give me a chance to just jump into that gay shit, y'all, so get ready for it. Basically, the big question I was wondering was, well, not necessarily wondering, but like thinking on, was that, can a game be gay, like a gay game, without necessarily featuring gay romance? And this is my disclaimer real quick. You know, I know some people are going to say a game is just like a game, it doesn't have a sexual orientation, and it doesn't really matter, but, like, for one, I think y'all have enough common sense to know what I mean when I say a gay game. Like a game that is aimed at gay audiences, so that's me addressing that immediately. And then two, sexuality has always been a part of games, for the most part, as long as people have been featured in games. Like, there's a reason why Mario saves a princess and not just, like, a box of cookies. Like, it's because sexual orientation and sexuality is just an important part of people's lives. Like, we want to save people and then romance them, and it's wonderful, but, you know, it's just been part of video games for a long time. So I'm gonna disregard basically anyone who's like, well, games shouldn't have sexual orientation anyway, they should just be about gameplay, because it's never been like that, fam. So, that being said, I think that a lot of games that we make that are supposed to be gay tend to be romantically inclined, which is fine, but I think it makes it a little bit harder to have a coherent plot when romance is the start of the storytelling instead of, like, part of it, if that makes sense. And in games that are, like, featuring gay romances, they have that working against them, in my opinion, because it's like, it's hard to make a game that is, like, specifically marketed to gay people without that romance in mind, but at the same time, it's hard to make a good game when you're just like, okay, I need a romance, and then I need to figure out how to make a plot so that I can show these guys kissing, basically, you know what I mean? Like, and it's awkward, and my heart really does go out to people who are trying to make media like that. And I'll say this problem actually isn't unique to video games, because, like I was talking about with gay movies and stuff, this is a very common problem. Like, it is very hard to make media for gay people that gay people enjoy and that is not bad because of this fundamental problem. It's like, how do I make this to keep homosexual interest without, like, just ham boning a fucking romance in it? So, I think one of the issues, for one, that we have is that we can't really see a way to make something gay without having romance in it to begin with. And what I mean by that is that we're afraid to talk about our experiences as gay people outside of the idea of being someone's boyfriend or looking for a boyfriend. So what ends up happening is that in these stories or in these movies or in these games, we tend to try to make the characters very normal. Like, and when I say normal, I mean we tend to make them not very, like, blatantly gay in a lot of cases, because we want the romance to be the focus, not necessarily the person. And I'm not saying that gay people aren't normal, or that normal and gay are completely different things. That's not what I'm remotely saying. So, like, if you feel yourself getting a little cranky or being like, what the fuck are you talking about, Ethan Bonreal? What I mean is that we have trouble directly addressing parts of our experiences as gay people that don't involve sex or dating. So, like, when we have unique experiences as gay people, we tend to not want to talk about them, because it's like, well, this means I'm different than other people, that means I'm a weirdo, so I don't want to do it. And that's cool and all, but when we try to make media, or we try to make shows or movies or video games, that just naturally means they're gonna be a little bit boring, honestly, because we don't add anything unique outside of, like, the gender of the people who is the love interest, you know what I'm saying? But that's really my take on it. And I actually have an exercise for y'all. So, I think some of you who are listening might be like, how the fuck are you supposed to make something? How can you just sit here and be like, okay, like, this show can be gay without having, like, any gay people, like, actively pursuing each other or, like, dating? And my answer to that it just really depends on your view of sexual orientation to begin with, honestly. Like, if you see your sexual orientation only in terms of, like, who you date, and you're like, you know, I'm just 100% like everyone else, only I date guys, like, that's fine, that's valid, that's legit, but you're just gonna have a different opinion from me, someone who thinks that gay is, like, a cultural identity, and we're just gonna have that disagreement fundamentally. But the exercise I'm talking about is kind of to see where you fall. Like, are you more like Ethan Bonreal, where you're like, okay, gay is, like, almost basically a culture? Or are you more like, probably like most people, honestly, where you're just like, you know, sexuality is just one part of my identity, and there's more to me than that? So for this exercise, viewer, I would basically ask you to describe what being gay means to you. You can do it in the comments, or just talk to yourself, or just think to yourself. You know, does gay mean just that you like people of a certain gender, or does it mean more than that to you? And I will do the exercise myself on camera while I kill this conducting menace. And I will say, for me, it means... oh man, this is a little bit awkward. Honestly, for me, it means that, you know, I fight to keep my head up. You know, I'm scared a lot. I've been bullied and treated very poorly by people. But it also means I'm very independent, because I've really only had to rely on myself in a lot of times, because I couldn't turn to other people for support when I was being bullied or treated not well. And likewise... you know what? I went the wrong... no, I did not go the wrong way. I went the exact right way, because we exited the dungeon. But, you know, I have had to rely on myself most of my life, so I'm really... honestly, I'm gay and defiant. Like, you can't tell me what to do, basically, because... you know, I've just had my own gay self to really rely on most of my life, so... y'all just have to get into it. This is how I am. And it also means that I had to hide most of my life, so now as an adult, I live pretty loud and proud, and I'm really aggressive about who I am, and I'm a very assertive person, which annoys some people, because it's like, why is this big, loud homosexual basically, like, telling me what to do, or, like, well, actually, I don't even tell people what to do. I just... am like, you know, there's certain ways I want to be treated, and if someone treats me a way I don't want to be treated, I ask them not to, and, you know, that really pisses off a lot of people. But for me, that is, like, a very gay aesthetic, you know, and I think that's something that a lot of people really don't understand, in part because we tend to be very culturally separated from other gay people. Because, spoilers, our parents usually aren't gay, so we don't really interact with other gay people till we're adults. But, you know, that whole stuff about gay pride, what it really comes from is that kind of mentality, basically, that, you know, I've been bullied most of my life, so as a reaction to that, I'm going to try to be really proud of myself. But that's basically my take on all this, right? Y'all are free to have different understandings of your sexual orientation, but I want y'all to answer that question. Like, do you think of your sexuality in those terms? Like, do you see it as just who you like, or do you think of it in terms of, like, how your experiences as a gay person have affected you? Because I'm not saying, like, being gay is all I am, but it's an important part. Honestly, it's an important part. Honestly, like, I wouldn't have the friends I have if I wasn't gay. I wouldn't honestly probably be as big of a nerd. I think honestly if I was straight I'd be a little bit of a douchebag, TBH, because I've seen how the other guys in my family who are not gay act, and a little bit douchey. Not to be toxic. Oh, you know what? We need to rest in the hotel. So if you're wondering why I'm in Summers, I needed to restock on the teddy bears because we are going on a long-ass adventure pretty soon here. And what we need to do next after we do that is... Actually, our inventory is getting a little bit stuffy, but we're fine for now. We're fine for now because we're going to use some of those items pretty soon. I think we're going to kill that car in one hit. Yeah, we are. That's good. That's very good. And Paula leveled up. There we go. And we learned Freeze Omega, which is super valid. So, let's piece the fuck out this restaurant. We need to drink those Kraken soups that I bought pretty soon. Probably during a boss fight. They increase your attack power when you drink them, which is why I've been holding on to them. But it's a lot easier to, basically heal from just healing yourself using your psychic powers than it is to actually eat food. So I haven't been doing it, but I really need to take advantage of that. I'm also going to take some money out of the bank once we leave the hotel, or once we get to the hotel foyer. So let's do it. But anyway, that's just my take on that. And I want to say, if you feel conflicted about this, or like you think you maybe want to feel differently about your sexual orientation, what I recommend is honestly just, you know, trying to find connections between yourself and other gay people. And I don't mean that like physical, literal connections. I mean like, you know, when I talk about my experiences, are they familiar to you? And if they are, maybe that's a sign that other gay people also have similar experiences, and that you can use that connection, the fact that we have shared experiences, as a way to basically build yourself up and feel better about yourself and feel you're a part of something. Because you know what? When I was younger, what I did actually to help me feel better was I actually read a lot of gay history. And you know, reading about people in the United States from like the 1920s who like were going through basically very similar things to what I'm going through right now, that was honestly like, that was real legit. That was really empowering. I was like, oh my god, these queens had body image issues in the 1920s. That's so wild. And they had to deal with people who were mean to them because of basically them not being particularly masculine. It was pretty wild. I really loved that. And it made me feel a connection to people. It made me feel more part of something. Because, like I've always said, I've been around gay people a long time, since I was 14. But even then, when I was 14, I actually really did not like other gay people, despite being around a lot of gay kids my age. And the reason for that is because I just didn't feel like I was the same thing as them. Like, I just really looked down on them a lot. And I was like, look at these dirty homosexuals, like, having sex and doing this weird stuff and being different from other people. And then, like, I was exactly the same as them. I just didn't want to believe it. Honestly, I was an evil queen. But anyway, back to the game. We're going to take a pause on this combo. So, I'm going to be straight up with y'all. I'm going to exploit what is probably a little bit... It's not a glitch, but it's a little bit dubious. See that little fucker down there running away from us? That red dude? If we touch that thing, it will automatically die, and it will give us enough EXP for one of our people to instantly level up. And there's a way to farm those so that you constantly get the EXP out of their bodies, and that's what I'm about right now, because what I really want is for Jeff to be high enough level to fix one of the items that we are going to find here, or fix one of the items that he has in his inventory, because it will basically give us free bottle rockets for the rest of the game. Oh shit. Oops, I fucked that up. So normally we would instantly kill it, but we didn't do that, and that's fine, because we're going to kill it pretty abruptly here. I'm just gonna shoot a bottle rocket. Oh my god, fucking plush bear, no! RIP. We are gonna use our most powerful PSI abilities, because this thing is actually weak to any sort of PSI ability. and we are also going to launch a bottle rocket at it and just generally give it a horrible time. Get fucked, nerd. Ironically, though, it is actually pretty adept at using PSI abilities itself, and it actually hurts pretty bad for this phase of the game that we're in. But, you know, it's just not gonna have the best time because Paula one-shots it because her brain is big. There we go, and we just got a buttload of EXP. So we can make this enemy respawn almost to our own will by actually just running around this lake and then moving in and out of this area, because this is the area that it spawns on. Shit, I didn't want to attack that. Unfortunately, though, a scorpion has a chance of spawning instead, and the scorpions actually have a very high chance of poisoning you, and poison is actually a pretty serious status effect on Earthbound. So we need to be careful about that. Let's see, let's go ahead and just PSI life up. There we go. Have fun, Paula. I actually didn't need to do that. She doesn't... PSI life up actually heals more HP than Paula has, so we could have used a weaker healing ability instead, but oh well. I guess, you know, it's already 22 minutes. I should probably talk about the other topic I was gonna bring up that Andrew brought up. You know, basically, as far as the preference stuff goes, I think that... Okay, I'm gonna be really, really real with y'all. I am black, I am a Negro, I am a nigger, I am black, I am a black person, and, you know, a lot of the grief I experience in my life, it's basically being treated bad because of it. And, like, I don't really... You could say I don't really interact with, like, my race that much in my videos, but honestly, like, my sexuality is very informed by my race. So, like, when I'm talking about gay stuff, I'm also discreetly talking about black people stuff, too, at the same time, because those things are very intertwined for me. Like, not only have I been gay all my life, but I've been black most of my life at the same time. Random, right? And I'm not gonna, like, tell people, like, that dating preferences are valid or invalid, because that just ends up being a big ol' waste of time, because no one... It just ends up being a waste of time. Everyone has strong opinions about it. But I will say, I think part of the reason why it's even a thing in the way that it is comes back to stuff that I've talked about in my previous videos. For one, that gay people often feel that they have, like, a specific type of guy that will make them feel better, and that is their way of dealing with basically being depressed or not feeling good about themselves, and that they feel that having that one perfect guy will solve their problems. And usually that perfect guy is someone who in their mind represents, like, basically like a good guy, in air quotes. And so it's based off of people that we've met in our lives who have maybe shown us kindness, or who just represent something good in our hearts. And sadly, that very much usually tends to be someone who is the same race as you. And even further, it tends to definitely not be black people, especially if you've never met black people in person. Because I've actually found that, like, the major determinant of, like, dating preferences tends to be, like, what group of people you grew up around. Because, you know, living in San Antonio, where I live, most of the people here are black and or Latino, or that I grew up around are black and or Latino. And those groups of people, at least in the side of town I lived on, just tend to exclusively date each other. Like, they date other Latinos, or they date other black people, or if they're black, they'll date a Latino, or if they're Latino, they'll date a black person. But, like, when I moved to Georgia, I did not... My experiences were very different. I was like, holy crap, that's so weird. Like, no one is really attracted to, Mexican-American people here, and they just were like, this isn't what I want. And I realized that was in part because there just aren't that many, here in Georgia. Or there in Georgia. And so people don't really build those connections to, like, kind of build those preferences in their head. But, I will say that it's, like, something I will reject out of hand is that people have preferences towards people because some people are empirically, like, more attractive than others. That is a pile of malarkey. Like, sexual attraction is always going to be extremely complicated, but it's never going to be, like, scientific to that degree. That was a really newbie way of saying that. It's never going to be, like, so extremely, like, biologically wired in people that certain groups of people just are empirically better than others. Like, that's a pile of garbage, honestly. And the reason I say that is because, for one, like, gay people exist. Like, if things were biologically wired and we're going off that type of logic, like, everyone would just be straight, because, like, we have just no way of being different from, like, what's the best for us, in air quotes, right? Like, can you see what I mean by that? I hope that makes sense. That was actually kind of a shoddy analogy, but hey, there's another worm here. Let's murder it. Get fucked, worm. Okay. Oh shit, we didn't actually level up from that one. That's pretty wild. We should be pretty close to leveling, though. No, we're not. Actually, what the problem is that we're actually extremely over-leveled because I keep grinding on screen. So we're gonna actually cut the video here. I need some more medicine, honestly. I'm getting kind of sick here. But, you know, if this conversation made sense to you, smash that like. If it didn't, you know, feel free to smash that dislike. I'm surprised you made it this far. I also want to say thank you all to all of those people who watch these videos regularly. And that includes you, viewer. Yes, you, the one eating the sandwich right now. I want you to look at that sandwich in your hand, or look at that phone in your hand if you're listening on your phone, and just, you know, I don't know where I'm going with this, because I'm not to be toxic. I'm a little bit doped up. This cold medicine got me fucked up, son. So I'm a get up out here, and these kids are gonna chill out near these turds. Oh, you know what? I never showed these off. So if you look at these, Pokey, our arch nemesis, actually literally took a shit in the desert right here, and these are his turds on the ground. Pokey's stink still hangs in the air, and this dude will sit here talking about Pokey's turds and being like, what the fuck, this kid just took a big ass shit in the middle of the desert. But anyway, I'm gonna catch you nerds later. Thanks for watching, bye, and don't let that NyQuil fuck you up.